You're listening to the Life with Old Dogs podcast, and I'm your host, Dawn Memnaugh, primary caretaker of all of our wonderful senior German Shepherds right here at Woody's Place Senior German Shepherd Sanctuary. Hey there, and welcome back to the Life with Old Dogs podcast. We are still in season 3, covering the 20 most common health issues in senior German Shepherds. And I just feel like I'm a whole year older now. I can't even remember when I started season 3. I don't know if it was like before Christmas or after Christmas or whatever, but we're not too far from the end of this season. I think there's maybe like 5 or 6 more episodes after this. But yeah, I I have to laugh. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm still doing this. But it's important. It's really important for you, the listeners, to know what these common most health issues are and to be in the know. This way, should they arise, you know how to handle them and know what to expect. So it's all good, really. It's all good. This week, we are covering hip dysplasia. So if you have a German Shepherd, especially a senior German Shepherd, chances are you have heard of hip dysplasia. And hip dysplasia can happen at any age in German Shepherds. And it does happen in younger German Shepherds as well. But as your senior German Shepherd enters his golden years, you may notice some changes in his mobility. Maybe he's slowed down. Maybe he has some difficulty getting up from laying down. Maybe he used to like to lay in bed with you or lay on the sofa with you, but you notice he hasn't really been wanting to jump up on the couch or on the bed, so he lays on the floor next to you instead. These are all common signs of hip dysplasia, which is a congenital degenerative joint disease that can cause significant pain and discomfort in your fur friend, especially as they age. And although hip dysplasia is the most common affliction in older German Shepherds, sadly, there's no cure for it. There are treatments available to help manage the condition and improve your fur friend's quality of life, but there is no cure, unfortunately. So what causes hip dysplasia in senior German Shepherds? So I just want to back up a second here. We covered elbow dysplasia a few episodes ago, and hip dysplasia is very similar, only it happens in the hips. So hip dysplasia is a results from the ball and socket in the dog's hip joint not fitting correctly together. Okay. Now, I just want to point out here that and I've mentioned this, I don't know how many times, but the Life with Old Dogs blog post coincides with the Life with Old Dogs podcast. All right. So, and I'll be sure to include a link in the show notes at the bottom of this podcast, but you can actually go to the blog post and see an image of regular dogs' hip socket area and hip joint area, and a dog with hip dysplasia. You can see x-rays of that to get a real good understanding of what I'm talking about here. But basically, yes, there's the ball, which is an end of a bone that goes into sort of like a socket in the dog's hip joint. So these bones, they're not fitting together, right? It's like a ball and a glove, and they're not fitting together, and the ball is actually outside of the glove a little bit instead of inside of the glove. So it's the same thing. And then what happens is, because they're not fitting together, when they fit together correctly, they slide smoothly within that hip joint. But because they're not fitting the way that they should, instead they're rubbing against each other. And that creates abnormal wear and tear that eventually leads to deterioration, and eventually, like down the road, it leads to complete loss of function of the hip bone structure itself. Like, it just doesn't work, and it's very painful. All right, so be sure to go to the blog post and check that out. And it's very, very visible. It's very, very visible and gives you a great understanding of what it is that I'm talking about. So what are the signs of hip dysplasia in senior German Shepherds? The first is there's definitely a reduction in activity. So limited activity. They're in pain. They're experiencing discomfort. They just don't want to be up moving because it hurts. They do want to be up moving, actually. They just want to be up moving without it hurting is what they want to do. So limited activity. If they are up, they may be limping. When they're trying to get up, they have difficulty getting up from a laying down position, especially on hard surfaces. So I've seen senior German Shepherds in our care, if they're not laying on an area rug, which I now have area rugs all over the place, and they're trying to get up off the hardwood floor, their back legs literally go out to the sides. They just go out to the sides, just flat out to the sides, and it looks really painful and unnatural. So they have trouble getting up. They have difficulty or are reluctant to go up and down stairs. Who could blame them? Likewise, they have difficulty or they're reluctant to jump, again, up on the sofa or up on the bed or up in the car. They have an unnatural gait. So this could be maybe in the beginning, but more toward the middle of the disease, like as the disease starts to progress, you may notice that they're just not walking right. There's something not right, but you can't put your finger on it unless you know what to look for. That progresses into bunny hopping. So bunny hopping is, so when your dog walks, one paw is in front of the other on both the front legs and the back legs. When they bunny hop, both of their back legs come off the ground at the same time. And they're doing this because they're trying to put most of their weight on their front legs, which aren't hurting as much, and taking them off the back legs, which are hurting them because their hips hurt. So bunny hop means when both of their legs are coming off the ground at the same time when they're walking or running. Atrophy of the back end. Now, it's very similar to degenerative myelopathy, but degenerative myelopathy, they have an inability to they have a different. It's a different reason why they can't use their back end, but the back end starts to atrophy because they're not using it as much. Their chest, their neck, their back, their shoulders, all of that still look muscular and big, but their back end, it just whittles away to nothing because it's atrophied because they're not using it. Stiffness in the back end. They can't use it. They don't want to use it. It's stiff. It hurts. Which leads me to my next one, visible pain and discomfort. You can see that they are in pain and discomfort. They may be whining or panting or, shifting a lot on their bed. Maybe they're biting at you and you're not really sure why. But they're in visible pain and discomfort. And as the disease progresses, they can't get up. They don't want to eat, they don't want to drink, and they can't get up to walk at all. And they're in a great deal of pain. We had Misty, little Misty May Huvier. I'm fantastic at coming up with little nicknames for all of the dogs who have been here at the sanctuary and are here now. They all have at least 2 or 3 different nicknames, but little Misty, her picture's on the blog post, and oh, little Misty, I'll make this quick, but she was surrendered at Acton, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the ripe old age of 14. And they told me they had a senior German Shepherd, and could I come get her? Owner went into a nursing home, and, just was no place for this little old lady dog. So I go down there, and here's this little teeny 30-something pound dog in this humongous cage. And my first response was, that's not a German Shepherd. That's an Elk-Hound mix of some sort. But I'm not cold. I'm not a cold person. I care about all dogs. So I said, I will evaluate her. I will temp test her with other dogs, and then I will get on the horn and I will find an all-breed rescue to take her. So I did everything that I said I was going to do. And as I went to go put Misty back in this ginormous cage, she was shaking like a leaf, clinging to me, just clinging to me. And her breath was preposterous. Oh, it was just so bad, but I couldn't turn away from this little dog, and I felt so bad for her. And I was putting her back in the cage, and then I started to walk away, and she was crying. And then I found out that she only had a few hours before they euthanized her because it was really crazy there. And I thought, I'm just going to go out in the parking lot, and I'm going to make some calls. And took 2 more steps, and I was like, nope. I'm taking her. I can't do this. I can't leave this little old dog here. So I went back and I got her. And I have to tell you, Misty stayed with us for a whopping 3 years. She made it to the ripe old age of 17 years old, but she had horrible, horrible hip dysplasia. And the last few days of her life were not happy at all. In fact, we ended up having her euthanized on Thanksgiving night. It just got bad, really bad. She ended up under our bed. She wouldn't come out from under our bed. We couldn't get her out from under the bed. She kept trying to bite everybody who would try to get her out from under the bed. It was just so bad. And when we finally managed to lift the bed and get her out from underneath it, her hips were like caved in. It was just awful. And I know that sounds graphic, but it was bad. It was really bad. So she had hip dysplasia when she came to us. We managed it for 3 years. But in the end, that was it. She couldn't get up. She couldn't move at all. And it was time to say goodbye. All right. But before we got to that point, we didn't know she had hip dysplasia when she came in. So we had to get her diagnosed. And when you take your senior German Shepherd to the vet, what if you think your senior German Shepherd has hip dysplasia? What's going to happen is they're going to do a physical examination. They may even do blood work. We always have our vet do blood work to rule out anything else. During the physical examination, your vet may want to see your fur friend walk, if at all possible. She may manipulate your German Shepherd's hip area just a little bit, nothing crazy, because obviously if it's hip dysplasia, it's going to hurt. At that point, she may be able to determine just by feeling your dog's hips if it is in fact hip dysplasia. If she's not sure, she may perform x-rays, and that will determine if it's hip dysplasia or not. If she's still not sure, which I can't imagine why she wouldn't be sure at that point, she may refer you to an orthopedic veterinarian for further testing. But after the x-ray, she's going to most likely know one way or another if it's hip dysplasia. So that's how it's diagnosed. Treatment of hip dysplasia, there's Well, it depends on where they're at in hip dysplasia. So it depends on the severity. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, younger dogs, if you have like a 2 or 3-year-old German Shepherd and they have severe hip dysplasia, they're probably going to require surgery. That dog has lots and lots of years ahead of him. And, you don't want him going through pain the whole time. So surgery will most likely be the answer. But as your German Shepherd ages, so treatment, like I said, depends on the severity. Now, if it's like a mild case, when it's a mild case of hip dysplasia, your veterinarian may at that point suggest lifestyle changes, just lifestyle changes. Let's just say you have a German Shepherd who's overweight. The weight's got to come off. If your German Shepherd should be 100 pounds, your vet may suggest keeping your German Shepherd right around 95 pounds. So just slightly less than what he should be, because keeping weight off those hips is going to help manage the hip dysplasia. I'm not saying you want your German Shepherd to be skin and bones. If he's supposed to be 100 pounds, no. You don't want him being 75, 70 pounds. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying within reason, maybe like 5 pounds less is totally, totally doable and would be beneficial for keeping the disease at bay for as long as possible. But once hip dysplasia starts to progress, then you're going to have to start thinking about incorporating pain management tools such as Rimadyl, Carprofen, Dr. Hemp Dog, like a CBD oil or hemp oil or something along those lines, perhaps cortisone injections, maybe therapy such as hydrotherapy, acupuncture, or even a combination of those things will become part of the treatment plan. In more severe cases, surgery may be required, but surgery is not always an option. So that's something to keep in mind. Maybe you don't have the money for the surgery. Maybe your senior German Shepherd has other health issues and is not a candidate for surgery. But if your senior German Shepherd is in relatively good shape and you can swing it, surgery may be possible to help with the hip dysplasia. Hey there, folks. This week's episode is being sponsored by The Shepherd Shop. The Shepherd Shop sells German Shepherd and dog-related merchandise, as well as our one-of-a-kind Woody's Place merchandise, with proceeds supporting Woody's Place Senior German Shepherd Sanctuary. So to check out The Shepherd Shop and support the sanctuary, head on over to www.wpsgss.org/Shepherd Shop. That's SHEPHERDSHOPPE. And now, back to our episode. Prognosis for hip dysplasia in senior German Shepherds. It's the same as elbow dysplasia. If it's diagnosed early enough, the outcome is a whole lot better than if it's caught later. But unfortunately, the prognosis for hip dysplasia in older German Shepherds comes down to maintaining the disease. That's really all you can do, is maintain the disease. And then, of course, when you've reached the end stage of hip dysplasia, you've done everything that you possibly can for your older German Shepherd to maintain the disease, to keep him as comfortable as possible for as long as possible, but you've reached the point that we did with Misty, where it's the end. It's the end stage. There's nothing else that can really be done. Then, unfortunately, at that point, you're forced to determine whether your fur friend's quality of life has come into question and plan accordingly for that. And boy, I hate saying that. I mean, I sound like the Grim Reaper. I feel like the Grim Reaper, really. I hate saying that. Euthanasia is like one of my least favorite parts of sanctuary life. It's something I've come to terms with a little bit better than when I was new to sanctuary life. I just couldn't face it. I did it, but I just really couldn't deal with it and would become very, very depressed and upset over having to say goodbye to any of our senior German Shepherd residents. But now, with over a decade plus, under my belt, I can look at things a little bit more realistically and less emotionally, and be like, okay, I've done everything I can for this dog. Her hips they're done. They're just done, and she's in a lot of pain, and I know this is going to crush me to say goodbye, but I know that's what needs to be done in order to give her peace and end her suffering. So that's the end stage, and unfortunately, that's what needs to be done at that point. So let's talk about prevention of hip dysplasia. Hip dysplasia, unfortunately, it can't always be prevented. But if you're going to purchase a puppy from a breeder, and I just want you to know, like, okay, I do the whole sanctuary life thing, the whole rescue thing, and I'm very passionate about that. I am not opposed to someone getting a dog from a breeder. And I know that could very well be the wrong thing to say in the rescue world, but I'm not opposed to somebody getting a puppy from a breeder because there are different reasons why someone may feel like a rescue dog is not a great fit for them. And to each his own. That's the way I look at it. To each his own. I'm not going to get a puppy from a breeder, but that who am I to say you can't? I'm not like that at all. But I will say this: when it comes to preventing hip dysplasia or degenerative myelopathy, you need to check the breeder out big time if you plan on getting a puppy from a breeder, right? Because there's some pretty questionable breeders out there, and they might smile at you and say, oh, look at this cute little fur baby, and he's going to grow up to look like his mom and dad, and this is going to be awesome, and you're just in love, puppy love, and, you hand over the money and away you go, and then you find out the dog has hip dysplasia, and you have nothing but stress and anxiety, and the dog's in pain, and it's, you're shelling out all this money to try to help this puppy dog, older dog, and, you could have prevented this from happening in your life. So check the breeder out and require proof of the appropriate screening. Make sure that the appropriate screening was performed to ensure that hip dysplasia is not present in mom or dad or anywhere in the bloodline. Same thing goes for degenerative myelopathy. You need to make sure, you need to educate yourself and know that they can have screening done to see if hip dysplasia, if mom or dad is a carrier of hip dysplasia. And if they are, and you still want to get a puppy from a breeder, go to a different breeder who provides that information. Okay, so that is one huge way you could save yourself some grief and aggravation, is to go to an ethical breeder. Now, let's say you went the adoption route and you got a German Shepherd, and some ways that you can help keep hip dysplasia in check. It's not going to prevent it totally, but is to let's say you got a younger German Shepherd, so you can make sure you're feeding that German Shepherd an appropriate diet, not feeding too much too soon, not trying to get him so big and bulky because you want this big bulky German Shepherd and really his joints just can't handle it. So you don't want to do that. Also, you want to keep his activity level in check. So yeah, younger dogs want to jump, want to play, want to do all kinds of stuff, think they can fly through the air, jump real high on the trampoline with your kids and all that stuff. But really, should they be doing that? What is it doing to their developing bones? Is that really a good idea? So you need to think about that. Maybe that's not the best thing to be doing on a regular basis, because it could lead to hip problems later on in life. Or maybe then, who knows? Okay, so there are just some of the ways to prevent hip dysplasia. Really, if they have hip dysplasia, there's really no way you can prevent it from progressing altogether. Oh, excuse me. All right, so I want to leave you with some tools that we use to help our senior German Shepherds with hip dysplasia. And I say that, but really it's for everything. Elbow dysplasia, cancer, degenerative myelopathy. But anyway, the first one is definitely to keep them at an ideal weight. We don't have any overweight senior German Shepherds here at Woody's Place. It's just bad news. It's bad for their health. It's just bad all the way around. So we don't do that. We keep them at an ideal weight. There are times that we may be a little overweight and, have to scale back on some treats and whatnot, but we don't have any obese German Shepherds here. And if we find out that one of the German Shepherds in our care is just slightly overweight, we put them on a diet and get them back into a weight category that's appropriate for them, or maybe even a little bit more on the slender side if they have back end mobility issues. Okay, we do short walks, short frequent walks if possible. So when I say short frequent walks, we give our senior German Shepherds plenty of opportunity throughout the day to take walks on the sanctuary grounds here. If they want to walk a whole lot, and when I say a whole lot, maybe that's like 2 or 3 trips around the sanctuary. And again, it's about a little over 3 acres here. So that's quite a bit of walking for a senior German Shepherd. Then that's what we'll do. We typically don't do that, but we'll do that every once in a while. But if Brandy, for instance, if she wants to come out with us and take a short walk around, she takes a short walk around. She goes back to the house. I shut the door, and then I'll take, any other dog that wants to come around with me. We'll go around a little bit more. So whatever they can do. And also when we're out taking walks, we incorporate a lot of sniffaries. So we may walk a little bit. And then if I notice that they're stopping and they're all sniffing, a tree or rocks or whatever, we just stop. We stop, we sniff, and then when they're all ready to go, we start walking some more, repeat. So takes us a little while to get around. So it's really, we're just milling around the sanctuary. That's what it is. But hydrotherapy and massage is another great tool to use for dogs with hip dysplasia. If you're lucky enough to be near a hydrotherapy center or an acupuncture center for dogs, great. Take them up on it. It's definitely beneficial. Massage, we do massage here at the sanctuary. That definitely helps. Dr. Hemp Dog Hemp Oil, we're nuts about that. Absolutely love it. In the blog post, we have a link to their website, and they were kind enough to give us a coupon code for 10% off, which is yours. You can use it as much as you want. It's not just one time. You could use it as much as you want, but we absolutely love them and feel that their hemp oil product is definitely beneficial to our senior German Shepherds here at the sanctuary. Another thing we do is use high-quality orthopedic dog beds, such as the Big Barker dog bed. You definitely want them to have an orthopedic bed, all right, if they have hip dysplasia. So the goal is to keep them comfortable. You want to keep them comfortable and as pain-free as possible. And a dog bed like the Big Barker dog bed is going to help you in that mission. So you definitely want ample support underneath their bodies, so that they're not, laying on this bed that's got this stuffing that's not even stuffing. Who the heck even knows what it's made of? But basically, the bed's all blown out in the middle, and the dog's really laying on the floor. That's not going to work. Additionally, we use heated dog mats. They go on top of the bed, so that they're just like giant heating pads for our seniors here at the sanctuary. Brandy's on one right now. She loves it. No stairs or very few stairs for obvious reasons. No jumping, especially in and out of vehicles, the bed, or a sofa for obvious reasons. Area rugs. So we use lots of area rugs here at the sanctuary. So hip dysplasia dogs, when they try to get up, their back legs may literally go out to the sides, okay? Literally go out to the sides, and it just looks so painful. And chances of that happening are greater on a slippery surface like a hardwood floor or laminate floor. So we use lots of area rugs here at the sanctuary to add traction under the feet of our seniors here in our care. Veterinary approved pain management, again, Rimadyl, Carprofen, Meloxicam. We always try to go the homeopathic natural route. Okay, we always include supplements, omega-3s, glucosamine, chondroitin, collagen, turmeric, all that stuff. But let's face it, so you could be doing all of that and it's still not enough, especially as the disease progresses. So you want to make sure you're speaking with your vet about some sort of approved pain management plan. Again, such as Rimadyl, Carprofen, or Meloxicam. Something along those lines. So now all those products that I just mentioned, and I have the link for this as well in the blog post. Amazon was kind enough to give us a preferred product page, and we were super thrilled because not everybody gets them. So we were doing our little happy dance over here at the sanctuary that we got a preferred product page on Amazon. So what this is, it's not for us. It's not for you, like our wish list if you want to donate something to the sanctuary. This is for you from us. So we try lots of different products here. We feel like we know what works and doesn't work for our seniors, and we wanted to share that information with you so you're not spending your money and wasting it on products that, aren't exactly what they say they're going to be on Amazon, or, you just don't like for whatever the reason. So we created this list, this preferred product page, and you can go there by clicking on the link in the blog post and see what we have on there. And these are the products we use at the sanctuary and truly do feel benefit our senior German Shepherd residents. Okay. So, and then you could buy them. It tells you, I think, gives you a direct link and tells you how much it is and all that good stuff. So that's up there for you as well. So few resources. All right. I think that's it. And I apologize. So we had a few warm days here. It warmed up, unseasonably warm here, for the last few days at the sanctuary. Fortunately, I got up this morning and it was only in the 20s, and that instantly made me feel better. And I say this because, I am allergic to mold and mildew. And when our ground starts to thaw out from the winter and there's a bunch of like mud, like it's just been a big mud fest here the last few days, I walk around congested with sinus pain and pressure and all kinds of stuff. So I might be the only person in the world that actually likes it when it's below freezing because then I don't have all these problems. But my voice has a tendency to get messed up when I'm feeling this way, and I don't know if it's going to come across or not. So I apologize if my voice doesn't sound clear. But anyway, on that note, next week is kidney disease, and we've had a few pass here at Woody's Place from kidney disease. My own personal German Shepherd who passed away back in January 2017 actually passed from kidney disease. So we're going to be covering that next. All right, folks, I feel like I've gone on long enough. And I hope you're truly getting something from this whole season here, season 3. I really do. I mean, this was my goal, was to give you this information for your own benefit. And I also wanted to say that in season 3, the blog posts and podcast cover the top 20 health issues found in senior German Shepherds. So do yourself a favor and head on over to our website, wpsgss.org, and scroll about halfway down that page and look for the Join Our Mailing List postcard. Because what that's going to get you, first of all, it's going to get you our weekly newsletter every week delivered right to your mailbox. So you'll get information about our podcast, our blog posts, what's happening at the sanctuary, any events that are going on, any new products or sales in our Shepherd Shop, which supports the sanctuary. But also, I'm going to send all of our subscribers a PDF ebook of the 20 most common health issues. I mean, it's going to be the whole thing. It's going to be the whole shebang. And you can either keep that PDF file on your computer and go use it as a resource, or you can print it all out and put it in a binder and keep it on a shelf somewhere and pull it out for your own resources, whatever. But that PDF ebook is going to be free to our subscribers only, right? So be sure to do that. All right, folks, listen, I hope you all have a great week, and we'll see you next time.